African law favors women, South African law favors women. Which woman? We're talking about the child here, and the child is staying with the woman. So what will happen? If the court say Miss Ashley Oga, give that they just kept Mzansi divided on the whole paternity dispute. I mean, according to Sid Kuluva, he asked for DNA, but he was being refused with it. But Ashley saying that Sid Kuluva only made a contact to ask if the name or the surname of Sid Kuluva appear on the child registry, which is the certificate. But what does South African law say about this? Can a mother really say no, I don't want DNA test? And what will the court do? What is the procedure that you want at court? Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Bonso, and here we talk about real life issues pertaining to South African law. We're trying to solve them and give you the idea of what's gonna happen and what are your rights. So this is not about gossip, my dear. We're gonna just dissect South African law. We're not deciding who's wrong. We're not saying who's right. We're turning this public dispute as a case study for what you can learn, and if met with this situation, what can you do? The first question that you can ask yourself is that, can a mother refuse for DNA? Yes. Yes, most definitely. Yes. Under certain circumstances, we'll be looking at the what are those circumstances? The circumstances surrounding the well-being of the baby. We're talking the baby or the child in question. We're talking about, does the father pay the maintenance? Does the father actually be there emotionally? Does the father actually acknowledge that this is my child? And other things. So here the best interest that are being put first is the child's best interest, nobody else. We don't look at how the relationship has ended. If the father was cheating, that's none of court's business. It doesn't matter who cheated, who didn't cheat. If it's concerning the child, according to Child Act, the child interest must be put first before anything else. So what if she does refuse a mother? What will happen? The first thing that the court will say, or try to actually say, is that you lose your credibility as a mother, because sometimes we'll say this is your child, and then later saying, okay, I want DNA. I'll give you an example of the story of Facebook guy. I think he's a lawyer, where the mother refused for DNA. So, but he's saying it's your child, you have to support her. But where's the proof? Because we need the legal proof that this is indeed my biological child. Why not have? So what happened is that the court will actually say, we're being questioned. Why are you saying no with DNA? The second thing, that they will delay the maintenance, meaning that they don't stop. They will delay the maintenance for a period that you are saying no, I don't want that. They'll just say, let's wait, let's see what is going on. And then the third thing, they can draw a negative inference, meaning that they can draw a conclusion that if you are saying I don't want to do DNA test, but this child is Steven's child, what can we say, Rina? You don't want DNA. Fine. So yeah, what if then the father is the one who's refusing with the DNA? What happens in that case is that the court will continue with the maintenance. The court will actually say that you are refusing with the DNA, meaning that you are still the father of this child. Continue on supporting this child emotionally, physically. The well-being of this child must come first. That's the, like, I have notes here so that I don't forget what I'm saying. And that's like the thing that the court will say. So refusing with the DNA as a man, it doesn't protect you from anything. Don't even do it. When they say that you have to do a DNA, just do it. Actually, it might save you. Because saying no, I don't want to do it. Okay, you don't want to do it, but support the child. The woman is claiming that this is the child. That's why people say, no, South African law favors women. No, they don't favor a woman. They favor a child. In this case, the child's interest must come first. So refusal will never protect you. So what are we saying from this? We are looking at the point that social media is looking for who's lying, who's toxic, who's wrong, who's right. But the court will look at this issue as if, is the child being maintained? Does the child have legal identity? The legal identity we're talking in terms of, excuse, does the child have where he belongs? It's good to have where you belong so that you know where you're going. They say the roots where you come from. This is under customary law also saying that ngwana ke ngwana ka dikgomo, meaning that if you belong to a certain kraal, I don't know what you call it in English, you belong in that kraal, and then the family of your father, they must come and pay some dowry and do some things so that they introduce you to their ancestors, and then you become part of their ancestors. That's under customary law. You're claiming your child under customary law. I think this one was said much by Sid Gruber, saying that he wants to do things of the culture. So that's what it means. We pay the dowry, which is different from the damages, by the way. You can pay the damages. That doesn't mean that you have legal rights to the child. In customary law, I want you to understand this is customary law. You don't have legal rights to the child if you paid only the damages. But if you paid the damages and dowry for the child, not the mother, for the child, then you have the right to your child to have your surname, to be a member of your family, and introduce them to the ancestors. I think I'm very clear on that one. Because people are saying he paid for damages, he must use the damages and loboling the child are two different things for a two different. Damages is to actually cleanse the family because you have brought shame to the family. That's what they're saying. Shame in the sense that you impregnated their child, but then you don't want to make a woman out of her, meaning that you don't want to make her the wife, but you impregnated her. It's like more like you have insulted the father of that family. I'm saying in customary law you have to go pay lobola for the child, and then the child will then take your surname. But in South African common law, which is English law that we're using in South Africa, you have both parents have the same equal rights pertaining the child in question. So meaning that it's not 50-50, it's working together so that the child's best interests are being put first. That's it. And if you want more content relating to law and how everyday life can be resolved using South African law, please do subscribe, like this video, and do comment. Remember, here it's only about law.